Just 1 week. Count it, 1 week until at least my favorite week of the year. The Masters is back, but that means it's one more week to cash a bunch of tickets and take them straight to the pay window. Welcome into Cash Out with the Coaches, the show of record every single week in the world of golf. I am the coach. He is one of the great minds, one of the great coaches in all of the land, Mr. Travis Fulton. Hello, Trav.
Coach, how you doing, buddy? I'm fired up 1 week away, but I'm pretty stoked about this week. I got to tell you, Valero Texas Open. There's some good names here. It's a tough golf course. We're gonna get some good golf this week, I have a feeling.
Yeah, it's always kind of it's cool to see which big players decide they want to play a week before the majors, and which ones steadfastly say we are absolutely not going to play the week before a major or the Masters. But before we look forward to the Valero Texas Open, we must look back and give props to the man, actually two men this week, who won on the PGA Tour last week. And we start, Trav, with Billy Ho, the man who broke all of our brackets, that you would have cashed a ticket well into the thousands if you bet on him to win at the WGC Dell Technologies match play. I had to say that 1,000 times last week.
I bet.
But I'm telling you, I know I'm a huge fan of this event, but when it gets to the weekends, I saw a lot of your tweets, and it's just not great, exciting coverage because you only got 4 or 8 guys and then down to the final 2.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of match play. I mean, I get it in the Ryder Cup, in college golf, it makes a lot of sense in that team atmosphere. Hey, one time a year, WGC, I'm all in. But it's just, there's a lot of pressure when you get down on the weekend and there's only a couple matches. The guys look fatigued. They're not making birdies, and it's a tough watch. I mean, that's just my opinion. And secondly, I think, it doesn't always, put out the best skilled player, obviously, in match play, because there's a little bit of luck and variance involved, depending upon who you're playing. But with that aside, Billy Horschel played great golf. He won 6 matches out of the 7. He didn't play great on Sunday, but he was a little bit better than Victor Perez, and he was a little bit better than Scotty Scheffler, and that's all you have to be in match play. And he got his 6th win on the PGA Tour, which is just downright impressive. So Billy Horschel, he's been playing some good golf. He gets on a golf course where putting is important, and you got to make some putts on Bermuda greens, and he certainly did that.
I love the fact that he's a killer. I love the fact that he doesn't apologize for being the ultimate competitor. In the post-round press conference, he listed off what his written down goals are for his career, and he still believes he can win all 4 majors and these WGCs. He believes he has the talent to do it, and so far he has shown that. He's a FedEx Cup champion. He's now a WGC champion, a multi-time PGA Tour champion. But on the flip side of that, Trav, you look at all the big names. Either they're not motivated, they're not focused. But when you have JT, Bryson, Rory, DJ, all get bounced in the group phase, I mean, it's crazy how many big names didn't make it, right?
It is. I mean, you had the one top seed, right? John Rahm. That was it.
That was it.
That made it out of the 16. So, that's a little over the top. You're not going to see that every single year, but that was shocking to see Rahm advance and the rest of them didn't.
At one point, Trev, it was like they had like 6 of the 8 or 7 of the something crazy, but the highest seed was like in the 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, there's no high seeds made it through, and it's usually there's chaos, but not this much chaos.
Yeah, there was a ton of chaos, and Billy Horschel. There wasn't many, trust me, that had Billy Horschel playing Scotty Scheffler in the finals and Billy Horschel winning the championship, but that's how it panned out. Congratulations to the Florida Gator, and congratulations to Joel Damon getting his first win in Corrales.
It kind of got lost in the whole WGC coverage, but it was one of the great wins, the most popular wins on tour. And if you missed it at home, Joel Damon, who had never won on the PGA Tour, he was going to sit this weekend out. And he said that he was sitting at home, and he said, you know what? I should be playing in the match play. I'm that good. I should be there. Yep. So that motivated him to go all the way to the Dominican Republic and play that tournament. And he was motivated to show the world how good he is because he wasn't in Austin. I thought that was incredible motivation, Trav. And every single day you read another quote from him, and it didn't surprise me when he got done and he finished the job. What did he say? Boy, this is really, really hard to do. And the emotion and the tears, and his caddy who's been there since the beginning, and the wife who worked 2 jobs. I thought it was one of the great wins and stories of recent times on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, it hit home for me too, because they're from the Lewis and Clarkson Valley, Idaho, Washington State area. That's where I went to college. I used to live in the town that Joel Damon grew up in, Clarkson, Washington. So It was really cool to see. I know everybody there, super proud of those guys. And I know Gino actually fairly well from Lewiston, Idaho. And, the win was huge for those guys. I mean, Joel is a guy that took a chance on his skill set. Obviously, his wife supported him. Gino had a 7-month-old baby when he decided to go on the road with Joel on the mini tours. I mean, this is a crazy story. Joel clearly is a great player. He was on the leaderboard a lot last year, kind of faded on Sundays, but then really hit a tough spot here. Missed 6 cuts out of 7, goes to Dominican, gets the win, and now some security here over the next couple of years. And he's in the field this week in Valero. I just hopefully he's changed clothes over the last few days from partying since that win.
Well, he did put out there on the club where he plays at that you just said. He said, "Hey, open up the tab.
Yeah.
Daddy's coming home." And which is cool to see because he made a big deal about the wife with the 2 jobs. He's like, literally, it was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the car, driving thousands of miles. And then if people haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go to PGAtour.com or go to PGA Tour on Twitter. And they have a video there of his caddy who wrote this letter 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When Joel was trying to decide if he was really going to make a go of it. And he was applying to be his caddy, but they were like best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "I believe in you. This is it." And to your point, they had a little baby at home. They were making no money on the web.com. Even the winners don't make a lot of money back then. They're much more money now. But for 5 years, for him to remain on the PGA Tour, Trav, that means he's had to have made the FedEx Cup playoffs, which means he had to have made well over $1 million to qualify. So the days of making no more money, they're over. And the fact that he understands it and he's paying for it, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's a great story. It was fun to watch. What wasn't fun to watch for me was Kevin Na, though, which I know you and I were tweeting back and forth.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that at all, Coach. And
what issue did you have with it? Because I think we fall on 2 different sides of the fence. In fact, I know we do.
Well,
what was your issue?
Here's the issue I have with Kevin Na. All right. Dustin, the number 1 player, hits a putt up there. We know that up to what, 6 inches?
Yeah,
right?
it was close.
6
yeah,
inches.
It was close. Yes.
Yeah. So after he misses it, he stands in the same spot, Coach, for a while. It wasn't like he just raked it away like Sergio did when Kuchar did his thing. So it took him a while before the big guy gated his way up there. And meanwhile, your boy, Na, standing on the top side, hasn't given it to him yet, apparently. And DJ rakes it away. So Kevin Na made a decision at that point in time to make an example in front of everybody on national television who Dustin Johnson doesn't need the information that, look, I didn't give it to you, and here's why, and this is how the rules work. Yeah, got it. Got it, Kevin. Instead, look, just handle it on the way to the next tee. It's not that big of a deal, but to Kevin, it was to make an example out of DJ. I'm not saying, look, he broke the rules. He needs to be this. It's not about the rule. It's about the way he handled it.
Okay.
In making an example out of Dustin Johnson. That's Bush League to me.
My guess is that previous to that, and we don't know that, and they haven't spoken on it, but my guess is that a little longer of a putt, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, that DJ had been doing that. Or maybe been doing it in a previous match, that he wanted to set it up so when it really mattered on holes 14, 15, 16, the later in the match, that there would not be an issue if there was a 3-foot putt and DJs went up and raked it. Because then that becomes a really big issue. So I guess I would agree with you on when, how, the fact that he had his hand on his back, talking to him like he was a child.
Yeah.
That part could have been done better. But I did not have an issue with the fact that he did it, because you're talking about millions of dollars that can be, if there's a misinterpretation, or hey, I thought he said it and he didn't. We have the cameras and the microphones now that we hear guys say, "You're good, pick it up," whatever it is. You have to wait until you hear that.
No, I
don't care how close it is. So I guess we kind of agree on both sides of it, but
just handle it walking to the next tee. It's not that big of a deal.
That probably would have been better. Yeah. I would agree with that. But Kevin Na is the subject of, to me, it happened at this event at TPC San Antonio, and he scored a 17, which is still one of the great videos that you can ever see on PGAtour.com when he got stuck over in the trees. There's no place to drop, and it just hack. And at least the next year, Trav, he went back to the same spot made a joke of it, made fun of himself, and that made it even better because it was hard to watch live.
Yeah, it was.
Really hard to watch live.
Yep. I'm surprised he didn't withdraw, or did he? Did he withdraw after that?
No, he finished that. He finished that.
Finished.
He didn't make the cut.
That was just the players.
Obviously, he didn't make the cut.
That was the players the week before that he.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
All right, let's get to the event.
It
Come
happens
on.
all the
Let's
time.
get to
It
the
happens
event.
all the time.
Let's get
all
to
right,
the
Valero Texas Open, TPC San Antonio, par 72, a little over 7,400 yards it plays. First contested in 1922, so that makes this event one of the longest running on the PGA Tour. There are a lot of big names that are playing this week, and then I want to hit on some big names that aren't into the Masters yet. So let's start with those that are. We've got 4 former Masters champions, Trav. We got Spieth, Mickelson, Zach Johnson, and Denny Willett all playing this week. There's a lot of players that play good in the wind, but I don't think this week is about that. I think it's about preparing for next week in Augusta.
You don't wait. No, say that again.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I was looking down on my notes. I did. What in the world?
I didn't think through the ear situation here.
Okay. I was trying to figure out where the shirt came from. Now I know. Now I understand. The whole thing is together. I got you.
Okay, wait. Sorry, I was trying to put my hat on.
That's okay. I was talking about the fact that there are 4 former Masters champions in the field. This is going to be a lot of wind, but I think it's about, Trav, getting prepared and having your competitive golf game in gear for Augusta.
I don't know. I mean, I think most of the field is here to prepare and play this tournament and win right now, this event. Now, I think like if Dustin was playing, he would probably be hitting shots that he would be preparing for next week. You have some guys that have that kind of luxury, but
well, I'm talking about the guys that are in the event. That's what I'm talking about. The guys that are in the Masters, like the Spieths, the Mickelsons, the Johnsons, the Willets. You think it's about this week over next week?
Yeah, I think they're focused this week. Yeah, they're looking ahead. They know that's the big event, but
okay.
They get in the heat and the battle this week, and they're trying to do things right now. You know, trying to get the game where it needs to be and win right now. I think Spieth's playing great golf. You'll see in one of my picks later. I think he could get in contention and win this thing. Mickelson.
Oh, I do too.
Mickelson's put together a couple good weeks of ball striking. He wants to keep that going, and he thinks in his mind, look, if I keep hitting it the way I am, make some putts, I could win this week. Yeah, I think it's about the Valero. They're all looking ahead. We know that. I'm not silly. But let me tell you something. You look too far ahead, this golf course, it'll embarrass you, especially with 10 to 20 mile an hour winds as expected. There's something about this course, Coach. I've been here many times. We used to have an academy here. And when you stand on this course, okay, and the wind blows 10, 12 miles an hour, it feels like 25 miles an hour. I mean, it just feels like the wind is always howling. And it's like you get in there like, oh yeah, it was only like 10, 11. Like, really? Well, walk
Texas
in.
For you. That's Texas.
Yeah, there's no coverage. The way the trees are, there's a lot of pushed up area. Like there's just nowhere to hide. And the wind is constant and it gusts, and you better hit it solid, because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. You've got to hit it solid. Premium ball striking, approach, driving, move it up. And then, of course, you've got the Bermuda greens to work with. But you need someone that can control the ball flight, keep the ball in front of you, handle the wind, because that's what they're up against this week. at&t Oaks course is the name of it. And it's gonna be fun to look at. You know, you've got a cast of characters who have won here. I mean, Corey Connors, of course, who we know is a great ball striker. He won here. Kevin Chappell, Charlie Hoffman, guys that can kind of keep the ball down, control it. They've won here. Then you have like Stephen Bowditch, right? He won here back in 2014. And Brendan Steele, we know, can keep it down with that little baby draw. Adam Scott's won here. And then Zach, who's in the field this week. Surprisingly, he's won here a couple times. Zach usually never plays before Augusta, but he's playing this week because he likes this golf course.
It's so funny you bring up Adam Scott and Stephen Bowditch. One of the funniest tweets of all time, when Adam Scott beat Bowditch by 49 shots at a WGC event in Florida years ago. And he said, if you had me minus 50 or plus 50, we got a winner, baby. We got a winner. It was awesome. Let me quickly, before we get to our picks in the show, I want to throw out some names at you. Okay. And I want you to tell me if you know what these names have in common. Okay?
Oh, boy.
Ricky Fowler, Charlie Hoffman, Brandt Snedeker, Jim Furyk, Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor. What do all those names have in common?
Well, I think you got to win to get to Augusta.
You're damn right. None of them. And these were the biggest names that I was a little bit surprised that are not in the Masters already that jumped off the page to me. That they have to win. There is no other way to get in than winning this week and making it to the Masters. Now, for Ricky Trav, he's played in every single Masters since 2010, over a decade.
Wow.
And last week, he was just kind of, oh, well, if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. And I didn't expect for him to be overly emotional, but I expected a little bit more about how badly he wants to get there and keep this streak going.
Augusta, I mean, right? I mean, it's Augusta.
It's everything.
It's the
everything.
Masters. I mean, it's the number one tournament for most people, right? And you want to get back there. And it's just strange to not see Ricky at the WGC. It's gonna be strange not seeing him at Augusta. I mean, the guy has fallen from relevancy in the game of golf, and not seeing him at Augusta. And when people are not there anymore, it's just, it's sad to see. It's a competitive landscape out there on tour. You've got to continue to play well. That's why a win like a Joel Damon is so impactful. Now you got some runway, now you can kind of,
it's a great point. That's
take a deep breath and maybe just play a little bit more free.
I think Ricky is a poster child for a lot of other guys on the PGA Tour that maybe we're getting a little bit complacent. That we're saying, you know what, maybe finishing 60th or 70th every year in the FedEx Cup playoffs is okay. That means I'm still winning a couple $1 million and I'm good. But now there's so many good players on the Korn Ferry Tour that if you slip a little bit, Ricky's outside the world top 80 now, and his exemptions are starting to run out. This whole, hey, you're in because you won here, or he's got the career money list that he can fall back on too. But as far as exemptions, about not worrying about what to get in, those days are about over for him.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's reality for sure.
Yeah, it's really tough. I think it's hard for us as fans too, and it's finding that sweet spot when it comes to golf betting, and finding the guy that's coming up that you still get. The numbers are still good, and then finding the guy that's coming down. And if you meet, in the sweet spot, you can make a lot of money, but you've got to find the right guys. And lately, betting against Ricky Fowler has been very profitable for people. If you notice now, Trav, it's hard to find Ricky Fowler head-to-head matchups anywhere.
Oh yeah,
you can't do it.
No, you can't. You can't. I was actually looking for it more this week. I was just thinking, because he's such a, he's a name that's on the burner. So I was just looking around and nothing.
No. Books understand you can't put a head-to-head matchup out there that's a clear loser. This is found money for people. They're not in the business of doing that because they're in business for a reason. So keep your eye out on some of these names. But as Trav said, ball striking, good iron play, good around the greens. That's the recipe to win here. And Corey Connors, by the way, the first golfer since 2010 to Monday qualify and then go on to win the tournament, which back in 2019, he's the defending champion. It wasn't played last year. He then qualified for the Masters. And that, Trav, those are travel plans that I will gladly change. Gladly change from going home. Oh, I got to find a spot in Augusta. I'm good with that. I'll find someplace to stay. I really will. All right, let's get into our picks this week. Here's how we do it. We take $100 and we spread it out over 5 different picks. 2 head-to-head matchups, top 20 pick, a tournament winner, and then a wild card play, which can be anything on the board. Travis got his matchups from William Hill. I got mine from mybookie.ag. Most of them are on all the books, but take the information we give you, and if you see a player you like in a different head-to-head, then use your own discretion and play what you would like to play. All right, Trav, here's your first head-to-head. Who do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldog here, Chris Kirk, minus 125 over Zach Johnson. Look, I really like what Chris Kirk is doing right now with his game. The ball striking has been really, really good. You look at him over the last, 4 or 5 weeks. Arnold Palmer, he was 8th, 48th at the Players, 28th at the Honda, but very solid off the tee, very solid in the approach game, good short game, actually exceptional short game. But the putting's been okay. He had a tough putting week at the Players, finished 48th, particularly on Sunday. He was actually there and then faded away with the cold putter. But the putter's been just kind of a little bit chilly. When the putter's been good, He's been really good. Second at the Sony when the putter caught a little bit of fire, +4 in the strokes gained putting. I think Zach, usually doesn't play before Augusta. He's playing this week. Zach's had a little bit of a record here. But I like Chris Kirk. I think he's trending the right way. I think he's just kind of looking for another good putting week, and I think he'll get it -125 over Zach Johnson.
It's not bad just dropping a quarter there in juice. The only thing that scares me about this one is, I called PGA Tour Live, and we had Zach in 3 of our 4 days. And that's what I love about PGA Tour Live so much, is that you get to see every shot, and you really get to see what kind of form that particular player is in. And I was a little bit shocked to see how good a form Zach Johnson has been in. And his number is in between 60 and 70 FedEx Cup. So he's having an average year. But I think right now he's hitting the ball pretty well. So Chris Kirk, I think, is going to have a really good week. I don't hate the pick, but Zach's playing really well right now. And I think he's motivated, certainly with the Masters coming up, his biggest win of his career in just over a week's time. All right, my first matchup, I'm going to go, Trav, with a guy who was great last week. He loves playing in the state of Texas. He's still looking for his first PGA Tour win, but I think this guy's going up, and Tony Finau right now is going down, which was the natural thing. Finau had way too many top 5, top 10 picks in a row, or finishes in a row. You knew that had to regress just a little bit. And I think Finau is really struggling playing in the wind during the Florida swing. We know there's going to be wind here, Trav. And Scotty Scheffler played at the University of Texas. He played great last week at the match play, making it to the finals. And I think as he continues to play in Texas, he's highly motivated with friends, family, the wife. He just got married in January or end of December. So I think Scotty Scheffler is a great pick at +100. I don't even have to lay any juice. I'm good with this.
Yeah, I think it's, I think you're probably getting Finau at the right time. He's come down a little bit. I think, A game to A game, I think Finau's the better player. Scheffler certainly ran out of gas on Sunday. We saw.
No doubt. No doubt.
That left shot is concerning. You hate when tour players start hitting that hard left shot. Man, things derail quickly, as you saw with Scotty. So hopefully he's got some fresh legs underneath him. This will be an interesting one. If can Finau maybe get a little form here before we go back to the Masters, like we saw earlier in the year. But Scheffler, in Texas, him and Spieth, they got to be feeling pretty good.
I did have one question I wanted to ask you specifically about Scheffler with your expertise as a coach. When I watch him play, he has so much movement in his feet.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would lend to a lot of not being as accurate as he should be, but yet he shot a 59. He made it to the finals of the WGC. Is there concern for you from a coaching perspective on the movement of his feet in his swing?
I mean, you're not going to change that. I mean, that's kind of the DNA of his swing, those little idiosyncrasies that you see with players. You would have to be careful trying to stabilize those feet. I think he's always done that. I've talked to Randy Smith, his coach, about it a couple times, and he's always just done that. That's just one of the things that he's done. You worry maybe a little bit like in fairway bunkers, wet conditions, uneven lies, things like that, where it might be a little bit problematic. But that wasn't the reason that you saw those shots go to the left for Scotty Scheffler. So I don't even worry about that kind of footwork now.
Okay, very good. Yeah. All right, our second head-to-head matchup looks like what for you, Mr. Fulton?
Well, let's just stay right here in Texas.
Oh, I like it. I like it a lot.
How you doing?
Oh my God,
Jordan Spieth -125 over your boy.
Oh, it's so hard. It hurts.
Matsuyama Hideki, first time coming to Texas. I want to see Hideki in one of these, by the way.
He would look great. He would look so good.
I want to see him in cowboy boots, toothpick in his mouth, cowboy hat.
Well, wait, that would mean he would have. That would mean he would have to win. That would mean he would have to win.
Huh?
Okay. To see all that, he would have to win, which means you would lose this bet. To see him in cowboy boots.
I just want to see him.
You just want to see it in general.
Yeah. I don't want to see him. Yeah. No, he'll miss the cut. Yeah, Hideki's going to miss the cut. Spieth, we know, is back. -125. I'll lay the juice here. That doesn't concern me at all here. I think Matsuyama really isn't playing that good of golf right now anyway. Now he's coming to a new spot. The wind's going to be blowing. Bermuda greens. Do I need to remind anybody? Bermuda greens, Hideki Matsuyama. Yeah, that's enough said. So Spieth in Texas keeps a good play going. This fade now off the tee, coach, is the power fade. We've seen it. It's got a little chase to it. Not only is it in front of him, but it's got a little heat behind it. So this is a big deal now for Spieth to have this shot off the tee. I can't believe he didn't try to go to it earlier. Maybe he did. I don't know. But, a little fade off the tee. We see the approach game. It's just fine. There's been really good numbers, really, with the approach game over the last 5 or 6 weeks. I don't worry about the short game with Spieth. I think the Players was a bit of an anomaly in some of the things that we saw there. And the putter has been a little spotty here and there. But the putter wedge, I don't worry about. Approach game's on point. Just keep that fade in front of you, and this should be easy money, Spieth over Hideki.
There's enough tournaments now of high finishes for Jordan or good play that the whole discussion of is he back, is it just a couple of tournaments? No. I think he's really found something, and I think that power fade that you speak of is one of the new tools in his tool bag. Now it's time, because he made the Sweet 16 last week, and let's be honest, he should have won the 16th hole in his matchup with Kuchar. Then that would have completely changed the outcome, but he screwed that up.
Yeah,
he just did. But he had no issues basically coming out of his group, and right now he's back to playing like a top 20 player in the world.
Well, he's hitting his irons. He's hitting his irons at a level that you see you see the odds now moving in his, basically he's becoming a favorite at Augusta to some degree.
We talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah. So his iron game is really, really on point, and that's cool to see. You get that little chase out there, and he's confident with that fade. And again, just keep it in front of you. That's what we're talking about with Spieth. He'll score. He's not hitting it out of bounds. He's not continuing to put himself in bad situations. That's what he needs to continue to do.
And we told you a month ago when the number was around 25-1 for Spieth to win the Masters to jump on it thin, because it would drop significantly. And that's exactly what it's done. By the way, for those of you who do play at William Hill, which is where Travis got his lines from, there is an option at William Hill in golf that you can bet on a player to miss the cut. And you just heard Travis thinks that Hideki will miss the cut this week. If you were so inclined, there is an option there with odds that you can do that. And I think that's one of the really cool things about the different books, but specifically, Trav, your book at William Hill, is there's a lot of exotics. I call them golf exotics, that you can bet players to miss the cut. You can bet best player from England, best player from South Africa. There's a lot of options there especially for those people just getting into golf betting right now. But would you like Hideki to miss the cut? Would you?
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I was just kind of talking crap when that came out. But
so you don't really mean, I was just trying to educate while I was.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't know. I mean,
that wouldn't be a play for you.
Spieth's going to comfortably win over Matsuyama, but I do think Matsuyama makes the cut.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. My second head-to-head matchup, Cody, looks a little something like this. Abraham Answer. Last two big worldwide against who? That's right. I'm going against my boy, because I have learned how to separate, Trav, my heart from my head, which is something I never did in my 20s, which is why I lost so much in my 20s.
Okay. Now I know you're talking.
So Abraham Answer has last week, he should have moved on in the match play. He cost himself that. That was his own fault. But in the last two big worldwide tournaments, he has a top 25 finish. He's really starting to round into form. And if you're going to give me a top 25, I don't think Hideki finishes in the top 50. So to me, that's a lot of value. If I'm banking on Answer to be in the top 25 and Hideki not to be in the top 50. So I only have to lay 30 cents on every dollar in this matchup. I'll take that all day straight to the pay window. Answer over Hideki. What do you think?
I don't like either guy. So this could, they both might miss the cut. People love Abraham Answer. I mean, they just love him. They're just trying to pull him along. Come on, Abraham. It's like there's a little value there. I mean, the reality is T42 in 2019, T58 in 2018. T to green, he's been pretty solid. He's not great around the greens, but his putter's been chilly. And
think
he's
about
not good
it
on Bermuda. So
when I look at head-to-heads,
what they answer.
Huh? If this was a top 20 or a top 10, I might feel a little bit away.
Yeah.
But to me, when I bet head-to-heads, it's as much about fading one guy as it is betting on another guy. That's how I think of it when I do my head-to-heads.
I think these guys will battle it out in that probably. They'll both be like +2, +3, somewhere
I'm cool
in
with that. I like when my plays are over on Friday. Then I can do something else for the weekend. All right, it's time for our top 20 pick, and I'm very interested, Trav, to see who you're picking this week for this one.
Well, I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are, Coach. I'm bringing the heat, baby, this week. I feel
Give it
good
to me.
with my head-to-heads. Cooch is back.
Oh,
Top
cool.
20 plus 220 at $15. It was great to see Kuchar play good golf against. The first time, Coach, that I have seen Matt Kuchar look like Matt Kuchar in a long time. And the reality is he needed some work. I mean, his ball striking has been absolutely abysmal. I mean, terrible.
Awful.
Stroke gain approach. I mean, I don't think you could be hitting the ball any worse from a Matt Kuchar standpoint. So he got some work in. Chris O'Connell's in Texas. He's been his longtime coach, and they put in a lot of work. And I'm gonna give you a little ball striking lesson here. Now, you ready for this?
Okay.
So what happens now with these players is sometimes as they start coming down on the bottom, that club face, it's not prepared enough. For Cooch, the face gets a little bit open. And then when they turn and hit it, the face is open and they hit a lot of wipes. And then all of a sudden they got to start manufacturing, and they manufacture, and they're good enough to manufacture to a certain level. But for Cooch, stroke gain approach, I mean, he's been living in that -1, -2, -3, and you just can't be doing that when you're getting that kind of distance from Matt Kuchar.
Yep.
Now, Kuchar, we know, is a good putter, but O'Connell got the club face closed again, and now he's ready to turn and hit it. And we saw the difference. Matt Kuchar was back. I don't think it was a one-trick pony. I think he continues his good play. I think he comes to a place that he likes. He's played well here in the past, makes the cut every single year, and he was tied for 7th last year. So I think Kuchar, good field for him, good course, just kind of stay under the radar, keep the ball under the wind, keep that ball striking going. He's good on Bermuda greens, top 20. I feel great about for the Cooch.
You probably could have gotten this price at plus 300 or higher, if not for the finish he had last week at the WGC. There's no doubt in my mind that it would have been plus 300 or better. I don't know why in the world he plays so well here. Why in the world he plays so well in Texas? But he definitely needed a reset, and he got it last week. There's no doubt about it. The one thing that drives me crazy about him is, I'm telling you, and every time it happens, I literally, and I think what's coming, is when he does that smile. Yeah. And especially because I bet against him 3 times last week, and I lost all 3 times last week. Yeah. And when that happens, and he's got that smile and that old man walk that he has going on, and you're like, how in the world are you still on the PGA Tour? And how are you beating somebody that I bet on? Drives me bananas. And I can only imagine what it's like to play against him, and he beats you, and that smile comes across his face. He's like, it sucks. I love the people out here. Yes. Oh my God. It all drives me crazy. Why does he do that? You know that he knows that it drives the other guys crazy.
I want to see Kuchar in a cowboy hat.
I think he could pull that off. There's no doubt about it. All right. I went with somebody who has higher odds, but is in much better form than Matt Kuchar is, because to me, that was a one-off. But Sam Ryder, plus 330. If you watched him at the Honda Classic, which I did all 4 days, he played really well in that win. Then you fast forward to the DR this past week. Again, most of the week he was in the top 10 position in really, really high wins down in the DR. So you transfer that. You add in the motivation of he's one of those guys that would love the dream of winning and packing your bags for Georgia. I think Sam Ryder is a great pick for $15 plus 330, and I'll take that all day.
I like the pick too, from just without you looking at me. If it was just me looking at it, Sam Ryder. But because you picked him, let me play the other side of it. So Corrales, 2nd, Honda 8th. How are those fields, Coach? How are those fields at those 2 venues? I mean, really.
I don't care about the fields. I care about the weather, and I care about what it takes to play well there. The Honda had a little bit better field than people think, but it was about the difficulty of the course.
Give me a break. That's what I'm looking at.
Phil was there. Phil was there. Ricky was there.
The wind was blown in Puerto Rico, and he finished 39th. The wind was blown in Houston, and he missed.
I'm talking about the last 2 weeks. I didn't bring up Puerto Rico. I didn't say anything about Puerto Rico. I'm focusing on the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't go back a year. I can't go back 3 weeks.
The two
Puerto
worst
Rico is
fields,
3,
the 2 worst fields in the PGA Tour. You're bringing him into the equation and putting him into a top 20. Get out of here.
T2 and a T8.
You know what Cooch says to him? You know what Cooch keys just
If that happens, I swear to you, I will come up with one of the funniest videos you've ever seen. If Kuchar somehow touches my boy Sam Ryder in a head-to-head, or they're battling it down, that would be unbelievable. That would be unbelievable. Oh my God, that would drive me. I don't think anybody cares as much about this as you and I do.
No,
and I think that's why we make a good match on the show. Is I live and breathe this stuff.
Yeah,
it matters to me. So when Matt Kuchar ticks me off, that matters to me.
See, I don't have anything against Sam Ryder, but I do this week. You know why?
You do now.
I'm looking right at him right now. That's why.
This is the face of Sam Ryder. We should do that celebrity swap face thing. I'll take Sam Ryder's face. All right, let's move on to our winner this week. And we've seen a lot of long shots. Billy Ho, if you bet on him at the WGC, you're a very, very happy camper. So with this field with some big names and not so big names, you can get some big numbers. Who do you like, Trav?
Well, I'm going to, I've been watching Charlie Hoffman for a while now. And I feel like he is really trending in the right direction. I think I mentioned this probably like a month ago. I made the point that, look, Charlie is getting longer off the tee. He's like 10 or 11 yards longer off the tee, and his approach game is getting better. And that's tough because we see with Rory, like he tried to get longer, and then all of a sudden he couldn't hit an iron because you start falling back and weird things starting to happen. So you look at Charlie Hoffman all of a sudden. Last year, off the tee, he's 111 strokes gained. This year, he's 34th. That's a huge jump. Huge. Last year, 296 off the tee. This year, he's 307. Last year, approach, he's 55th. This year, he's 18th. I mean, these are, this is some pretty heady stuff. And he's coming in, and he's showing good form. 17th at the Players, 10th at the API. He's won here before. He was second last year. I know it's a little bit of the chalk, but at 33, look, that's decent. With the player like Charlie Hoffman, considering this field, guys like a Spieth, a Scheffler, who are not exactly winning all the time at this point. DJ's out. That's going to help. So I just feel good. And I talked to his coach.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Excuse me. I haven't done this in a while. Let me pick up the name you just dropped. You can continue.
No, I haven't dropped it yet.
I'm getting ahead of the game.
I talked to his coach. 2020 PGA Teacher of the Year, Mark Blackburn, this morning on the Stripe Show podcast. Drops tomorrow. Anyway, he feels great about his boy Charlie Hoffman. No one loves TPC TPC San Antonio like Charlie Hoffman. I mean, he loves this place. He's playing great golf. He's hitting the ball longer. Charlie Hoffman gonna win it again this year.
You know what? Last week, I also want to add, he was really good. He was in a position to win in the DR, but he blew up on Sunday. But he was right there. He plays great in the wind. I don't hate this pick. He's a former champion here. So at over, plus 3,300, that's a pretty good number for a guy. And I think part of the reason that he's playing so well is he's in that category. He's in that 40-something category that either you start putting in the work or you're going to lose your tour card because these young cats are coming for you. And we've seen guys that it works. Yeah. We've seen guys that it doesn't. And I think for him, it's working.
That's a good point. And that's one of the things Mark mentioned. Like he's made the decision here to put the time in and give this a go. And you can see it. Like it's been coming this way for a while. He loves his place. Why not?
It's amazing. I wonder if these guys ever say, you know what, if I would have done this 5 or 10 years ago, where would I be at today? Why did it take this and all these young cats coming out the Corn Ferry to push me to want to stay on the PGA Tour? All right, my winner, I'm going to go with the guy who was one shot off the lead heading into Sunday this past week. He notoriously gets into form right around the Masters. He shocked the world when he won the Masters a few years ago. Fell off the face of the earth. but now has his game back. My winner this week, that's right, plus 9,000. Danny, bring home the bacon, will it? Let's go one time, as I think he continues his good play in the wind, getting ready for Augusta. His game is back, and I'm just going to put a little sprinkle, $5. But oh my goodness, the return that I would have if I take this ticket all the way to the pay window.
Did you just reference another Corrales Punta Cana figure?
I did.
You did. Okay. I thought so.
You seem to focus on the field, and I'm focusing on how he played on that course and in those conditions. I don't care about where he finished.
Yeah,
I care about how he played.
You remember how Danny Willett played in the Masters back in November? He finished 25th. He played good.
Yeah, he's got his game back.
So, yeah, he's done, Sean Foley works with him now, and Sean's really good at kind of rebuilding guys that need it, and he's done a good job with Danny for sure.
I think Sean Foley's terrific. I just don't have the time to sit and listen to him. Tell me how the golf ball was made. All right. It's time for our last pick. Wild card. Man. It could be anything on the board. I know it's hot, right? I love wearing a hat, but boy, it does get hot after a little while under the lights. All right, give me a wild card and bet anything on the board that you like, Trav.
Well, I'm going to go top 20 wild card here. $15 on Bernd Wiesberger. From Austria, 35 years of age. People are like, who the hell is that? Right? Bernd
he's a good player.
Let me
a good player.
Yeah, he's actually he's the number 47 ranked player in the world.
Yeah.
And he played last week. He's over here in America. Played last week. He was 1-2-0 in match play. And he's going to play in the Masters next week. So why not play this week at Valero? It's his first time here. He's got 7 European Tour wins. I've watched Bernd a decent amount. And you're like, he's the 47th ranked player in the world. Like, yeah, he doesn't play a lot over here in America. So I think he's not scared of these conditions, this kind of wind and emphasis on ball striking and grinding. So I kind of like this spot for him. And at plus 450, I felt like that was a good value. Iron game is his strength. I'd like to see him keep it in front of him a little bit off the tee, obviously have a good putting week. And I think a top 20 is within reason for a top 50 player in the world.
I have been leaning a lot in my fantasy DraftKings towards in the Florida swing and also WGC in this week to the European players. They are just proving more than the American players that they can handle all the wind that has been coming at them the last 5 weeks now. Yeah. And this will be week number 6. I believe. So I love this pick because he is so good on the European tour. But he also, when he comes over here, and a lot of times Vegas will get the numbers wrong because they don't know a guy. And they just look at where he stacks up and say, okay, this is the number that we should give him. That happens a lot in golf betting. And that's why people need people like us to decipher and figure out where these numbers are good and where there's more value or where there's no value. It's very, very, very important. But this is a good pick, people at home. Bernd Wiesberger is a really good player. He's now settled in here to the United States. He's going to be over here for a few weeks and the Masters, as Travis just said. Now he's starting to feel comfortable. All right, my wild card pick. I'm going with a top 10. And this is a cat that for some reason in events like this that are kind of off the beaten path a little bit, Brendan Steele always seems to show up. At the Honda Classic, he had a great Sunday, kind of a backdoor top 10, and that's where he has been so good, is those backdoor top 10s. And that's all I'm banking on, Trav, this week. Plus 330 for a guy like him who's really good in the wind. He's got that low ball flight also. I think that's really important at this particular course.
Yeah, I agree. He's played well here. He was T16 back in 2016, top 10 in 2015. I think with Brendan, and we were talking about it on an earlier show, his putter's been really good. He'll keep the ball flight down, control it. He's putting well. I think he was 5.5 positive at the Honda, 4.5 positive at Players. Those are heady numbers. So if he comes in and putts like that, I could certainly see a top 10. So it took us to the end of the show, but you finally got a pick that I like. It's great.
And I was really worried about it too, as you can tell. Quickly, our incredible partners at SportsPub have commissioned us to do a little special Masters preview. So you want to make sure Follow us on the YouTube channel, SportsPub Media, so you know whenever there is new content that's going to be dropped into your feed. We'll be doing that show Wednesday of this week, and it'll drop sometime later in the week. We'll still do an episode next week as we head into the Masters, but they'll get 2 this week, Trav, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm too. You know, it's April. We've been through a lot. It was cool to see Augusta right back in November.
Oh,
but,
yes.
I mean, Augusta in April, prime time. Golf is starting. A little bit of a heat wave. Let's play, enjoy, get out, talk to people. This is going to be a great spring. I'm excited.
And we're going to be here for it. We're going to be here every single week, catch out with the coaches, and courtesy of SportsPub Media. So this is where I think we look at really the golf season starting for us and on the PGA Tour from April 1st, really up to September 1st. But this year we got the Ryder Cup. It's going to be an incredible 6 months of golf.
It is.
And we're going to be here for it every single step of the way. All right, you've got your marching orders. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Remember, for Travis Fulton, Cody Merrill, our incredible producer, our great partners at SportsPub Media, I am the coach. Remember, this is the only place every single week that you can cash out with the coaches. Good luck. See you next week.